You want to get credit for our music? That's fine. That's why we see a lot of people talking about Jamaicans created hip hop, which is not true.
No, we did.
Hello everybody, you're welcome back again to the Reggae Appreciation Society. Reggae is among the newer genres of music on the planet, as it emerged from Jamaica in the late 1960s, but it's not the youngest, as it's older than hip-hop, which was born in the US in 1973. Both genres have since become the dominant sounds on the planet, with an incredible level of influence on popular culture. For as long as it's been in existence, hip-hop's origins have been traced to Jamaica and identified as something of an offshoot of reggae, and more specifically, dancehall. But in recent times, there have been many arguments and viewpoints that challenge the assertion, and the talking points often swing depending on who you ask. While some say that hip-hop developed organically in America, there are others who can swear that Jamaican inner-city cultural elements like toasting and sound systems are what provided the core out of which hip-hop would develop. At the center of this raging debate is a figure that the world came to know as DJ Kool Herc, a Jamaican-born American DJ who is celebrated by hip-hop fans and historians as the founder of hip-hop, and is also considered by reggae fans and commentators as being the man who exported dancehall culture to New York and gave it an American flavor that birthed hip-hop. One evening at a party in 1973, he was the DJ on the night, and he played 2 copies of James Brown's 1970 song Sex Machine on his turntables and would run an extended sequence of the percussion breakdown on the song, and his audience would love it. And it became a phenomenon after he invited a friend of his to come and speak in a rhythm or rap over the beat. These innovations were groundbreaking in America when Kool Herc unleashed them, but to the folks back in Jamaica, it was simply a normal urban phenomenon which had been there since the 1950s. In recent times, there have been heavy debates over this topic, with the likes of American author and social media personality Tariq Nasheed claiming that before Kool Herc's innovation, hip-hop already existed in the US.
You want to get credit for our music? That's fine. That's why we see a lot of people talking about Jamaicans created hip-hop, which is not true. Y'all didn't create hip-hop. I'm sorry, brother. There were rap records in the 1960s. Pig Meat Markham had a couple of records.
This endless back and forth led me to go down the rabbit hole and try to answer this question. Did hip-hop really emerge from reggae? And to get to the bottom of this question, we need to take a look at Kool Herc's origin story and the very origins of reggae itself. DJ Kool Herc was born Clive Campbell in 1955 in Trenchtown, Jamaica, a neighborhood that was one of the engine rooms of Jamaican music, and an area that produced the likes of the Wailers, Alton Ellis, and countless others. Around when Clive was born, the genre we call ska was coming together as a sort of fusion of the indigenous Caribbean sound of mento, jazz, and the bedrock of American R&B. In the 50s, American blues/R&B was very popular in Jamaica, courtesy of the powerful radio stations beaming out of cities like New Orleans and Miami, and their signals were so strong that they could be picked up by radios on the island. American blues artists were very popular and influential over there. In fact, the great Fats Domino, who visited Jamaica in 1961, is regarded by many, including Bob Marley, as the very person who invented reggae, as the instrumentals of his hit song Be My Guest became the foundation upon which ska would be built. Producers like Coxsone Dodd and Duke Reid began to record the fast-paced mento, R&B and jazz fusion that became known as ska, and that music was introduced to the streets by the network of sound systems, which by then were an integral part of urban life in Jamaica. The sound system is basically a crew that's made up of a selector or DJ, sound engineers, and an MC or toaster that play music at live events. It started in the 1940s and would grow into a massive phenomenon a decade later, with hundreds or even thousands of people who would turn up to hear the selector play records, with the high point being the MC's rhythmic speaking or toasting over the songs that the selector was playing. And while DJ Kool Herc was still a baby, the best toaster in Jamaica was a man called Winston Cooper or Count Machuki. It was Count Machuki who inspired a then 13-year-old kid named Ewart Beckford, who eventually became known by the stage name of U-Roy, the originator. It was U-Roy who took the art of toasting to a whole new level when he began to DJ at the age of 20 in 1962 and became a major star after he joined forces with sound system owner and electronic wizard King Tubby, the man who invented dub and the remix. Leroy joined King Tubby in 1967, the same year that Kool Herc would move to the US with his family and settled in New York. And now in America, he brought with him the sound system culture from Kingston and his great love for music. And this all led him to assemble his own sound system, and it became very popular for throwing parties. So one night in 1973, he threw a party, and while playing, he would extend the instrumental portion of the song and toasted or rapped over it to the delight of the crowd. The word about his innovation would spread. His parties became very popular, and his innovation would influence the first generations of hip-hop artists like Grandmaster Flash and Africa Bambaataa, and in essence would create hip-hop itself. Now this is the general take, but there are tons of opposing views which insist that Americans were rapping before Kool Herc came on the scene. This school of thought names African-American actor and comedian Pigmeat Malcolm's single Here Comes the Judge from 1968 as the first hip-hop record, a 2 minutes and 41-second comedy sketch from the point of view of a judge in his courtroom dealing with his cases, and indeed featured rhymes and rhythms over a funk instrumental. But critics on the other side of the argument are quick to remind everyone that Leroy and thousands like him were already several years into the art form by the time Here Comes the Judge came out. The truth is that spoken word or poetry over instrumentals is a phenomenon that is at least 1,000 years old. So to answer the question of whether hip-hop came from reggae, I'd say yes and no. Yes, in the sense that the formula of a DJ and a rapper, which is hip-hop's foundation, is undeniably a creation of the dancehall sound system culture. Also, King Tubby's dub innovation of stripping away vocals to allow a toaster rap over the beat in 1967 is what made rap possible in the first place. And when you listen to the first American rappers like Kool Herc, their flow resembles and reminds you of the toasting of Jamaican DJs in those times. But on the flip side, I'd say no, as hip-hop was never based on reggae rhythms and was built entirely on purely American instrumentals from the likes of James Brown. But I'm certain of one thing, and it's that these debates aren't going away anytime soon. But all in all, I truly believe that these arguments are unnecessary, as Jamaican and American music have for the past 7 decades sort of fed into each other. American R&B inspired ska. Ska morphed into rocksteady, reggae, and eventually dancehall, whose culture would form the framework of hip-hop. And while it might not have been created out of reggae directly, it's safe to say that no other genre's influence is greater on hip-hop's emergence than reggae music. So there you have it. Thank you for watching this video today. Please leave a like, subscribe, and until next time, God bless.